Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Um, it's another week of indoor and arena football craziness. First things first, I do want to start with something that I was, a little bit let known into. A lot of people have been kind of worried about Monroe and the Monroe Greenheads, the Memphis Hound Dogs. Well, Memphis has their GM in James Fisher. First IG post made by Memphis too. So that's all good and dandy. Um, still 2 months out until the season. Ozarks is also looking for some people. Just keep in mind TAL starts a little bit later than everybody else in the late stages of May. So, there's plenty of time for guys to get on teams, in the TAL and everything like that. So, just wanted to get that out the way first. And how about it? Felix Harper and the Fishers Freight upset the Quad City Steamrollers, everyone's presumptive favorite to win the IFL championship this year. Of course, I did not make any predictions this year at all. I do not want to. I don't feel like it. I'm not going to because I'm wrong every single year as far as predictions are concerned. But Queon Williams, man, three touchdowns, despite all that, shoot, Quad City, still can do some things, but I think that upset, from Fishers was just wow, crazy. The Zamboni cam with all the guys, off the wall football, um, Project Superfan was there, and I think the arena football historian. I think there was like three or four guys, and maybe DJ too. Maybe BJ as well. There was a bunch of people in Fishers, a bunch of arena indoor football aficionados were in Fishers to watch that upset of Quad City. And then in the championship rematch, which really isn't much of a rematch because these are two completely different teams now. Liam Thompson outduels Jade Delora, and Green Bay with no spectators in the crowd because of a winter storm that happened, a winter blizzard that literally happened that caused people to say, like, hey, for one, overnight it was going to stream the game for free. Two, nobody was going to be allowed except for like maybe a few people in the arena. Maybe it felt like a COVID game. In college basketball. That's how crazy it was in Green Bay last night. And it was a really good game last night too. 37-35. A lot of turnovers though. That is the one thing. Lots of turnovers. Um, West Michigan obviously took care of business against the CNY Blue Devils, who have filled in for Wyoming. Basically, West Michigan took care of business. Like the fact that nobody said anything about this game, in most of the group chats, really, was like, wow, it's crazy. Now the NAL, real quick, Amarillo got beat, just got BTA'd by Sioux City 53-6. Lorenzo Brown was cooking. That Sioux City defense was on a tear. It was just a nightmare in Amarillo, Texas. And Amarillo yet again is still a market that just has not recovered, at all to where, it's like, hey, does this city need a arena football team? My answer still right now is no, but we're gonna try anyway. I'm gonna try anyway. That was a Friday night game, of course, too. Louisiana still couldn't get the job done against Southwest Kansas. It got really good late, but ultimately, the Rougarou just still could not make the plays needed, and they lose yet again to Southwest Kansas 24-18. A huge shocker, Josh Hollins and the Pueblo Punishers just beat the Omaha Beef 44-31. Crazy game. Omaha had the lead for a while, and then Pueblo stormed back. Hollins with the three touchdowns and everything like that. Pueblo defense stepped up big time with some big key plays made in that game. and thus the Pueblo Punishers are 2-0. And finally, last but not least, that we're going to talk about is my experience in Fair Park Coliseum Saturday night. The Colorado Spartans, Fred Shaw, Paxton Lynch go up against the Dallas Bulls led by Prime Waits, and again, it took me forever to get inside the Coliseum because, it's right by the Cotton Bowl, but you have to walk through Fair Park to get through to the Cotton Bowl. You have to get by the Cotton Bowl, so you got to go around to get in there. And I barely made it in time for kickoff. I barely made it in time for kickoff because I had gotten back from softball out in Denton, and I had barely made it back in time. So I was like, oh, I kind of need to hurry up and get on up out of here and everything like that. Um, and my first experience inside Fair Park Coliseum was that it was an arena that was definitely old. It felt old. It looked old on the inside. At least there were some concessions, but they weren't that crazy, expensive too. Of course, Dallas Bulls ran a promotion like 3 or 4 days before they ran a promotion 3 or 4 days before this game to where they were trying to get more people to come because what happened is that Dallas was super busy that day, like it always is. Deep Ellum was packed for St. Patrick's Day celebrations. The Dallas Stars had a game. IndyCar had stuff going on, so everything and their mother was there for the home opener. Now, there were more people this time than last week. I'd say about 250 to 350 people in total were at this game. That's my best guesstimate, which is still not a good a number at all. Um, and I made a bad comment, towards the beginning of the game once the Dallas Shockwave dancers came onto the field because I was under the assumption that because there are Dallas interns. In fact, the Bulls are trying to hire more interns right now as we speak. Like they just made another post the other day about hiring more, actually it was yesterday about hiring more interns. It's like, guys, you guys kind of need to make money. I don't think hiring interns is going to be the best sort of course of action right now. But in any case, um, I got chewed out a little bit, but the head of the Shockwave Dancers, had a nice conversation with me for a pretty good chunk of the game, where it was like, hey, she worked with the Marshalls in the past and everything like that, and the Texas Revolution and stuff like that. So, she's been around. Um, and I believe she works with the Shockwave Dancers. I believe she leads the Shockwave Dancers. I'm not entirely sure, but shout out to her real quick. Of course, the game itself was about as bad as you could get for the Dallas Bulls. It was 29 to nothing at half. Prime Waits was just on a tear as far as his anger was concerned. There was no scoreboard in the arena. The scoreboard that was seen in the arena, yes, there was a kick that went off the Jumbotron scoreboard in like the third quarter or something like that. But ultimately, there was no scoreboard that actually worked. The other thing is that Dallas had replaced their Corpus Christi dasher boards with some new dasher boards that were more inflatable, which is also not a good sign because there are no sponsors on said dashboards. There's nothing that screams like, "Hey, this team is going to survive through like more than 1 year." That doesn't help me at all. Um, and the fact that I got merch. I did get a $25 T-shirt. I got a $25 T-shirt. I have it with me. It's somewhere over there. You can see it in like the vlog that I had from Saturday night. which I had a little blog from Saturday night that you can go see on YouTube right now. But the other thing is that the merch section was pathetic, pathetic, and it's like the team knows that things aren't looking too good because there were maybe like 20 shirts total. You know, the halftime entertainment was the Shockwave dancers, but kind of need a little bit more than that. Like at least try and do something. A little bit entertaining. There was a DJ there that was just constantly blasting music the entire game, which annoys the mess out of me. And I do not like when there's DJs at games and they just blast music the entire game. That makes it hard to really kind of get into the game when there's just music blasting every 5 seconds. I do not like that at all. You know. Um, what else was there to really to say? Dallas threw like 3 or 4 interceptions in this game. Paxton Lynch had a bad pick that got reversed due to offsides, but ultimately, when he was on it, he was on it. You know, um, there were 59 plays in this game, which tells you a lot. And the game ended, in 2.5 hours, which I'm actually quite surprised at because NAL games take long. I'm talking long. They've been notoriously long, ever since Omaha and Sioux City have gotten in, to the NAL. They've been notoriously long back to the CIF days where it felt like games were way too long. An indoor football game should not take 3 hours. 2.5 hours is about what I could handle. Two hours 45 minutes is about the limit that I can handle. But 3 hours or longer, no, we got to speed things up. And 59 plays being ran, you know, none of which were passes that went into the stands. There was maybe like one pass that hit a guy up top, but ultimately nothing crazy happened really with passes because the teams were trying to run the ball a lot, or Paxton would throw some nice ones, some nice ones over the middle and stuff like that, but nothing crazy, nothing spectacular that it's just like, wow. I wish I had a game ball, but nothing from this experience tells me that the Dallas Bulls are going to make it as long as I think that they are. I had fun. I had fun interacting with people. I know somebody who said, "Hey, big boy, you need to go see Don Hill." And it's like I think I saw his wife, but I don't think I interacted with him. I think I interacted with somebody else that was at the game, that had been a part of the Marshalls and stuff like that. From back in the day a lot. But will I go back? Honestly, right now, I am leaning towards, Saturday night. I said no, but there is something going on April the 4th, which I believe I will have the opportunity to go right back into Fair Park Coliseum and see the Dallas Bulls play. Yet again, they will play Pueblo this week, the undefeated Pueblo Punishers this week, so you don't have to worry about the broadcast, which was one other thing that kind of messed me up, was that the broadcast glitched out from the NAL network, and thus the stream was lost for a little bit. But at the same time, there was also a YouTube stream by the Drinking Bros podcast. I think it was called the Duncan Bros podcast. I forgot the name. I follow them now on IG. But in any case, there are there was a rule about broadcast standards that had been put into place, and if the Bulls get fined, okay, but because of the cleanness of the broadcast on the YouTube stream, which I don't know if it's just the NAL's fault, I don't know if it's Dallas's fault, which it probably is because of how glitchy the stream was from TSP. um I don't know. I don't know if Dallas is going to get fined or not. I believe they should be fined because of how bad that broadcast got. You know, And the fact that it went up on YouTube, and it was news to me in the arena because people were saying, "Hey, big boy, the stream is being broadcast on YouTube right now." I'm like, "Wait a minute, what? That's not supposed to be happening right now. That's not supposed to be happening." But in any case, my experience with the Dallas Bulls was interesting. It was interesting. It was fun. I The result was not what was desired as a Dallas sports fan, but I think, if things can go a little bit better, things have to be cleaned up, of course, very quickly, because I just don't see the long-term viability. But in any case, that's basically what I gotta say is what I saw and what I witnessed during this game is about as what I expected. It's about what I expected. But what are your thoughts on this week? I hope you enjoyed the Zamboni cam as well and everything like that. I'm gonna get on up out of here and enjoy the rest of our beautiful Tuesday. We have more vlogs coming from more great institutions this week. Dallas Baptist tonight, and be in Arlington on Saturday. Um, I'm thinking of going to Frisco after that too. So who knows? We'll see. But from me to you, hope you all enjoyed this week. If you saw me in Fair Park, hope you talked to me and had a good time. Gonna get on up out of here and see you later.